Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I want to address this the issue of trolls. Like typically we have trolls on social media, we have on YouTube, Facebook and what have you, and they're to be expected. So I work with a lot of social media in marketing and advertising, and we're trained to just ignore them when you have trolls. People, because obviously they've got nothing better to do, and they seem quite comfortable and content to kind of advertise their own lack of substance, their own lack of having a life, having hobbies, having a goal, having a career or business. So they clearly have the time and the space and the headspace to look at other people and critique other people. And the fact that they are either not self-aware, or they're happy to market themselves as being a bunch of ingrates. Okay, it's interesting. I'm just saying, it's interesting to me that people are not aware that they are coming across that way. So it's to be expected. When you're a business owner, if you're running a business, if you're doing marketing and you're growing an income, generating income, then you obviously priority management is important for anybody who is generating wealth. So for professional people, for career people, business owners, they're not going to waste their time with trolls. They're just going to ignore them and move on, because it's beneath them, quite frankly. If you've got a bigger goal and you're busy and you are achieving, then why would you want to waste your time and lower yourself to their level? So in generally speaking, as much as we are aware that there are these trolls, these idiots online who've got nothing better to do, it's just interesting to me that when it comes to religion, there are people that will troll people, and it's kind of like, when you're trolling somebody within the context of religion, what you're actually saying is that I am inferior to you. It's almost like, okay, so one person that I follow is Dan Locke. Dan Locke, now he definitely has his haters, but he focuses on his work and he focuses on what he does. So within the context of being like a type of coach or somebody that is an influencer, in his case, he's got this whole like boss in a Bentley thing going. Now, and then also he's got his red suit, so he shows you that he has generated income, that he has got it in some way. Because let's face it, if he was still wearing like shorts and a t-shirt and driving a city Golf, would you take him seriously if he told you that he could help you or teach you to generate income? So what I find so fascinating is that when somebody trolls you and claims that your religion is inferior to theirs, it's almost like a person in a city Golf pulling up next to somebody in a Bentley saying, I know how to generate income more than you do. Where's your fruit? Because if you're trolling people, what you're actually telling people is that you're spiritually inferior, that you're not somebody of consciousness, you're not a growth-oriented person, you're the type of person that likes to put other people down to make yourself feel better. And so trolls are very much the epitome of spiritually immature people. Now, I've been trolled twice in 1 week by Christians, and I say Christians because, like, look, I myself was a Christian. I still have a lot of Christian family. I still have Christian friends. To me, a real Christian doesn't go around trolling people. A real Christian doesn't go around insulting people. A Christian doesn't go around disrespecting people and attacking people verbally. If a Christian disagrees with you, they will like politely or respectfully say that they don't agree with you, but they won't go out of their way to attack you and harass. They basically are going to be a nuisance. You understand? So there are people, and I was aware of this even when I was a Christian, you do get people that are pretending to be Christians, and then they go around acting antagonistic to actually repel people from Christianity. So there are people that are pretending to be Christians and pretending to be Muslims, and then actually causing fights with other people because they want to create that what's the word, disconsent? Well, basically contempt. They want to, it's okay. They want to create contempt. They want like to put people against each other, and that's what they want to do. So likewise, I've seen this with the Muslim community as well. So I see, look, it's social science. At the end of the day, Muslims and Christians are people. So you're going to have the same amount of narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths, and just horrible garbage people who are pretending to be of the community, but in reality, they are contrary to what the religion is teaching. So, you know, there are definitely those people, and that's why this concept of intention is so important, because if you are, for example, a Christian or a Muslim, you're somebody, like regardless of what your label is, if you are persevering towards God, you have to have that intention, because the devil is on the path of righteousness. So you're going to find hypocrites in both communities, attacking other people in other communities, calm down, attacking other people in other communities, and then of course attacking their own people. Because let's face it, a quote Muslim who is in reality a disbeliever is also going to hate Christians and Jews and other people as well of other faiths. And a Christian who's pretending to be a Christian, who in reality actually hates God and hates Jesus and hates religion, but is pretending to be a Christian, they're going to hate Muslims too, because they hate all monotheists. So it's not that surprising, though, that you're going to find that a Muslim hypocrite is going to attack Christians and attack other people. We saw this in the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So either way, when it comes to religion, it's absolutely vital that you as the individual, regardless of your label, in fact, you're going to have to put a pin on that, ultimately your focus, your intention first and foremost has to be towards God. I'm not at all dismissing books and scholars and the right path and the right way, but the reality is if you do not make your intention, then you are going to find it, because look, either way you're going to come up with challenges. For example, in business, you have to have the intention. You know, the people that are investors, they will say that they look at the why are you doing your business. The technology is one thing, but if you have a why, then you've got a ambition towards solving a problem, and you're going to persevere in that ambition regardless of what the challenges and the problems are going to be. So the why is very important, because that's your niyyah. Like the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, that for every man is what he intended for. Obviously this includes women as well, because in another hadith he says that for what applies to men, universally speaking, applies to women. So for all of us is for what we intended for. So you can't just if you have to have the absolute best intention regarding your religious beliefs and your faith, and you have to, or we have to, keep persevering accordingly, because we are going to come up, we are going to go up against these challenges and these problems within the communities. We're going to be faced with hypocrisy, corruption, abuse, and what have you, and therefore we have to have the highest goal, because it's not a question of if you're going to have problems, it's a question of when you're going to have problems, because you will. You are going to come across hypocrites. But the Bible and the Quran are warning you that this is going to be a problem, this is going to be an issue. Therefore, you have to aim not just higher, but highest, and then let smaller things fall into place. So, as we have idiots in both camps, and I see this parallel, and I've chastised Muslims who, for example, they'll pick on Christians during Mother's Day or Easter or whatever, and then they'll come up with all pagan stuff. And I'm just like, oh, you need to get a life. You need to, you pick your battles. Because I've never heard of a Christian who has converted to Islam because they were bullied or because they were picked on by Muslims. That never happens. Never. And there's no such thing as a person converting to Christianity. I've been bullied twice by these quote Christians. And I'm just like, when has a Muslim ever converted to Christianity because they were being harassed by a nuisance? Has anybody ever said to you, oh, I was a Muslim and then I became a Christian because these Christians were harassing me and bullying me and irritating me online, and they were just being stupid and pathetic, so then I decided to become a Christian? So you're not going to convert people to your religion by irritating them. Okay? So you'll notice with the Quran, it advises Muslims regarding the Christians, come to an agreement that our God is one God. Okay? That needs to be the focus. The focus is God. That's it. That is where we have common ground. That is where we talk. The differences, we can deal with those later, but we need to establish our common ground first. In terms of educational psychology, human beings actually learn best when they're connecting new information with information that they already have. And it's important that when we're speaking to people, that we understand where they're coming from, we understand their perspective, their point of view, and then link our information to their information. It doesn't have to be a contentious, painful discussion. It can be a very fruitful and a very positive discussion. I personally have gained from other people perspectives, and likewise I find it easier to show whatever beauty of Islam there is with people when they are being validated in whatever value systems that they care about. That's where you get somewhere with people. So it's the same with business. If you're selling to people in business, if you're, for example, talking to a person in active drug addiction and you're trying to help that person go to rehab, that is a strategy that counselors use, where they find the agreement in the person and they draw the agreement out. So, for those that are battling with that, Amber Hollingsworth in her channel, Put the Shovel Down, talks about this a great deal. So likewise with religion, you're not converting anybody by jumping on them and attacking them. But if you find the common ground first, and then you link from there, and then you grow and you build your discussion, then at the very least, you can get closure on the fact that you shared what is important to you and what you feel that the world needs to hear. And as both scriptures will tell you, as both scriptures have told us, that at the end of the day, if people don't want to listen, that's up to them. Okay, because La ilaha illallah, there's no God but one God. We share what we share, we find our common ground, and if people are still narcissists, if they're still full of it, then that's their problem. Because if there's only one God, then we're not in control. So the actions are in our hands, and then the results are in God's hands. And yeah, because at the end of the day, we're worshipping one God, we're not worshipping ego. Okay, so all this religious arguments and backbiting and nastiness, it's just ego. What else? Shameless cat's not doing very well. Yeah, and I think ultimately, it's like my teacher said it best. When she was talking about, okay, now we're speaking within the context of a Muslim community in a Muslim class, and she said that you should be so focused on yourself that you don't have headspace to look at anybody else and criticize anybody else. I mean, at the end of the day, you do want to benefit other people, but it definitely does start with the self. Because if you're growing the self, then you're going to be an example to others, and that is the best Dawa, that is the best ministry, that is the best way to show people, like, instead of telling people about your faith, rather show them your faith through you, through your kindness and through your grace and through your decency and your respect. So I think I'm going to leave it at that, inshallah. Please make dua for this cat and you see for AMEEN. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.